Hey guys, it's Miss Johnson here, and I'm here to bring you our last notes video for Unit 3. Unit 3, Note 7, which is on multiplying binomials together. So we've talked all about how we simplify polynomials, all about add, subtract, multiply, divide. Now we're going to take two polynomials and put them together, multiply them together, and what do we do with that? What does that look like? So up at the top of your notes page, there are two ways that we can multiply these uh, binomials together, or basically two ways that we can set them up or visualize them. And we're going to talk about the FOIL method first. So in the FOIL method, we start by multiplying the first two terms of the binomial. Then we multiply the outside terms of the binomial, then the inside terms of the two binomials, and the last. And if you'll notice those words, first, outside, inside, last, that's where we get the acronym FOIL. So you will hear teachers refer to, you got to FOIL that. Well, that's because that's how we think of multiplying these two binomials. It's really just two sets of distribution. So if I show you just a brief example here, let's say I have x plus 3 and x plus 2. So if I think of multiplying the first two terms, that means I'm distributing this x to that x and getting x squared. Then let's say I'm distributing the x to the 2. That's the outside. X is on the outside, 2 is on the outside. That's 2x. If I distribute the inside, so that took care of distributing the x. But then I also have to distribute the 3. So that would be inside. 3 times x is 3x. And then I need the 3 to go with the 2. And 3 times 2 gives me 6. Then the last two things we need to think about is putting our like terms together. I have 2x and 3x that can go together. They're the same variable raised to the same power. So I'd have x squared plus 5x plus 6. It's in standard form. I have no more like terms, and I'm done. So I just want to recap that. That's two sets of distribution that we're doing here. The first term needs to be distributed to both parts behind, and the second term, the 3, needs to be distributed to the both parts behind. And that acronym FOIL, first, outside, inside, last, just helps remind you that you need to have all 4 of those before you start to combine your like terms. Okay. Now, some people need a little bit better visualization of what we're doing when we have these two sets of distribution. So we also use something that's called the box method. Okay, and really it's just another way of looking at it, visualizing it, so that we can see what's happening when we multiply these. So we're going to set up a box. I'll just use the same binomial. So I have the binomial x plus 3 and the other binomial x plus 2. I'm going to use those same two examples. So x plus 3 times x plus 2. Now, when I set up the box for this, I need a 2 by 2 box because I have 2 terms here and I have 2 terms there. So the box is going to look like this. Here, there's all those steps. You can just write them down if you'd like. So 2 by 2 box. There it is. Then the next thing, I'm going to put one binomial on the top of the box and one binomial on the side. And here's the key, or here's a nice fact. It doesn't matter which one you put where. So on the top, I'd have x and positive 3. On the side, I'd have x and positive 2. Then I multiply each row by each column and put my products on the inside. So x times x gives me x squared. X times 3 gives me 3x. X times 2 gives me 2x, and 2 times 3 gives me 6. Now notice that those 4 terms that are inside the box, those products, are the same products that you got when you were foiling. X squared, 2x, 3x, and 6. Then I need to take these products and I need to combine any like terms that I have. I see a 2x and a 3x, which is 5x. The squareds alone, the constants alone, so x squared plus 5x plus 6, and that is my standard form. So 2 different representations, one we call foiling, one we call using the box, setting it up in a box. Either way, it's 2 sets of distribution, and that gives us our product. So let's do a few more examples. Okay. I'm going to get rid of these because we've got them over here. Actually, no, we'll keep those there. I'm going to simplify with FOIL in number 1. So in number 1, I need to multiply the first two terms. So there's the first term times the first term in that one. X times x gives me x squared. Then outside, x times negative 4 is negative 4x. Inside, negative 1 times x is negative 1x. And last, negative 1 times negative 4 is positive 4. So I have negative 4x negative x to put together. That's x squared minus 5x, as negative 4 and negative 1 is negative 5, plus 4 on the end. And that is my product, my simplified form. Let's take a look at number 2. So now in number 2, I'm going to use the box method. So when I set up the box method here, I need a 2 by 2 box. So draw yourself a big enough box so that you can set up two terms on the 2 columns and 2 rows. Then I need to put 1 across the top and 1 across the side. And I find the products in the middle. So x times x gives me x squared. X times 2 is 2x. X times 5 is 5x. And 5 times 2 is 10. And then the last thing I would do is combine my like terms and get rid of that. So the products in the middle, like terms are right here. 2x and 5x is 7x, so I have x squared plus 7x plus 10. It's in standard form, and I'm all set. Now, here's another thing. Same as when we talked about solving systems, I don't care how you solve this. I don't care how you simplify. If you want to use the FOIL method every single time, go for it. If you want to set up a box every single time, that's fine too. Whatever works for you, whatever you're most comfortable with, do that. So let's talk about number 3. I'll FOIL again in number 3. So my first two terms, x times 2x is 2x squared. Outside, x times 1 is 1x. Inside, 1 times 2x is 2x. And last, 1 times 1 is 1. 1x and 2x are like terms, so 2x squared plus 3x plus 1. That's my product. And I'll set up a box in number 4, just so we can see a couple examples of each. So in number 4, I've got a 2 by 2. So I need 2 rows and 2 columns. X, negative 1 this time, so put the negative with the 1. Same thing with the negative 3, x and negative 3. So make sure you keep track of where those negatives go. Then multiply, x times x is x squared. X times negative 3 is negative 3x. X times negative 1, negative 1x. And negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3. So I've got x squared minus 4x because of my negative 1 and negative 3, and plus 3 there. So that's my simplified answer, and that is my like terms. All right. We're going to go ahead and stop your video there today. We'll come back tomorrow and finish up the notes together. Thanks for listening and have a great night. Don't forget to hop back to Schoology and take that quiz. See you tomorrow.